have 130k followers on Instagram, another 40k-ish on YouTube, 17k on Threads, 20k on LinkedIn, another 10k on my Facebook profile, and around 7,000 or 6,000, should I say, here on X. And my audience was built without OnlyFans, without MLM, and without daddy's money or a sugar daddy. And my personal brand and my audience are also the thing that got me my girl Rolex there. Also what got me my 10k Van Cleef diamond necklace. And so in this video, I want to break down the 5 mistakes that are making your personal brand suck. Because whenever I meet people, they always ask me, how did you grow your personal brand to be what it is without showcasing your body all over the internet and while actually sharing educational content? And that's what I'll break down for you here today so that you can leverage your personal brand without having to have a giant audience to generate qualified leads and sales calls for your business. That's what we're going to be talking here about, because I'm not the person who's going to be sharing content on just being a creator for creator's sake. In fact, my most popular video over here on my YouTube channel actually talks about exactly what happened when I did go ahead and I got dropped by a big brand. It was Gymshark. When I was working with that brand, they were paying me money. And as soon as I didn't have that brand deal anymore, I started having my friends come to me who were also working with them asking, hey, how are you still generating revenue? And it was all through the business that I had at the time. So the very first thing that makes your personal brand suck is, boom, if you are trying to be like Tate, Gadzi, Hormozi, Gary Vee. So let's start with Gary Vee. He talks about posting everywhere all the time, being omnipresent. I get you, Karen, right? I hear you. But here's the thing. How many times have you thought through a strategy which is like, I'm going to post on this channel, on that channel, on this channel, on this video content, that podcast, and then you never actually do it, right? It's because the barrier to entry is simply too high. So all these guys, what they have in common is A, they have all had success, whether you like him or not, right? I don't really know too much about this guy, so let's delete him there. But I see people emulating him and saying his words like G and brokey and doing this like, what I think isn't that like the vagina sign? I don't know, he does it all the time. But with that in mind, these guys have had some like legit success in the past. Iman Gadzhi, I met the dude when he was 11 at an event, and he was there with his video camera vlogging. And then he had a ton of success through getting his massive brand online. Hormozi sold his business for 50 million. Gary Vee has a 9-figure business and an entire team doing his content. All these guys can afford to pump a ton of money into their personal brand because they are using it to refunnel back into their business. So with all of that in mind, if you're setting the barrier to entry to be like them, then you are setting yourself up to fail, because you cannot do what they're doing straight out the gate, because you're going to post content and no one's going to consume it in the beginning. So instead, when you set the barrier to entry lower and you have a strategy which is more in alignment with something that you can do consistently, then you're going to be able to stick to it. It's just like fitness, right? If you decide that you're going to run a marathon on day 1, then on day 2, what are you going to do? Day 3, day 4, day 5, you're not going to be able to do that consistently over time. Instead, you would run a kilometer and then 5 and then 10, etc. You want to commit to a minimum viable personal brand, and you want to pick the platform that feels the easiest for you. So personally for me, what I find the easiest is writing. So I always write a long form piece of content and then I take out little sections like I have done here. And then I film a video based around what I already wrote before. Then it's top of mind for me and I don't have to think on the fly, because I just find that this type of content is easier so that I can have some bullet points and freeball. Whereas other people, they're better video first and then they want to write the content thereafter that based upon what they said in the video. So depending on what's best for you, whether you like speaking, whether you like doing video, whether you like writing, make a long form piece of copy or a long form video, and then from there the rest of the content can come from that. And so that gets your brain working, it gets you thinking, it gets you inspired, and then you get into the flow of things. Now, with that being said, we also have to consider the fact that if you are creating educational content and it's not getting traction, why are people not paying attention and why are they not listening to you? Well, if you scroll back to the beginning of this video, did you see how I flashed all of my social media followings? Now, I'm one of these people where I think about it like business media, not social media, because I'm using this for business. However, people see those metrics and they pay attention. Same thing goes when it comes to your content. The question that is unspoken, that's in people's minds, that they're asking themselves when they see you appear on their feed for the first time is, why should I listen to you? So if you list down 3 to 5 things that are impressive about you right now, lead with that in your content, because that's going to get people to pay attention to you. And that brings us on to the 3x3 matrix. So the 3x3 matrix is a law that I discovered after making more than 60,000 posts on social media on my own accounts, not to mention the I would even say hundreds and hundreds of thousands that we've written for clients. And that would be this. There are always 3 people who are potentially seeing your content at any one time. So let me repeat that. There are always 3 different people who are potentially seeing your content at any one time, and each piece of content should only speak to one of those 3 groups of people. Okay? The first is the majority of people, which is strangers. The second is people already in your audience, and the third are prospects. So the content that you're going to say to a stranger that doesn't know who you are yet is very different than a prospect that's ready to buy from you. So in your personal brand strategy, it is absolutely critical that you have a different piece of content speaking to each of the different people once or twice per week. So when strangers see your content for the first time, they really are thinking, who is this person on my feed and why should I listen to them? So you must use an authority intro before that educational piece of content starts in the first line so that people then pay attention to the tips and the strategies that you share. In the content which is speaking to your existing audience, if the goal is to get them to become a lead or to get them to connect with you further, then you should speak to them like they already know who you are. So you should share value with them so that they understand why to listen to you. And remember, value is not giving away things for free. Value occurs at the point of consumption. So when somebody consumes your content, they implement it and they get a result, or they have an aha moment in their mind, that is the value exchange. Okay? Or for the people who you want to connect with them further, same group of people, your followers, your audience, it needs to come down to them feeling like they're getting insider's information. So that's really key. And then when it comes to the people who already are prospects of yours and they want to actually become your client, then for those people, it's about having the right offer so that they raise their hand and they say, yes, that's the offer for me. I want to work with you. And when you use the 3x3 matrix, then your entire content strategy becomes much, much easier because you always know who you're speaking to at any one time. And this is how I've grown my audience to the size in which you see, but also how my clients with less than 5,000 followers are generating multiple 7 figures and 10 to 30 sales calls every single week for their business with leads that are qualified. Now, the next thing on that note is metrics. Because when it comes to the metrics for offers, when you put out an offer for the prospects, that segment of your audience, those people are not going to be new followers, right? So when you put out an offer, you shouldn't be upset if you don't get a ton of engagement. What you should be looking at the metric on the back of putting out an offer through your personal brand on social media is how many sales calls did you get booked? How many applications did you get? That's really key because then you're reviewing the right metric and thus you're making strategic business decisions rather than always trying to get more followers, more likes, more comments, more engagement. When you're putting out a post for only the people who are already in your audience, so you're trying to connect with them or you're trying to convert them into leads, you're looking to see, did you get more leads? So if this is a post where you're getting people to comment a keyword, then how many comments did you get? And out of those comments, how many of the people actually opted in and engaged with the free thing? Okay? And if you're putting out a connection content where you're getting people to comment and engage with you and ask you a question, etc., how many people actually took that action? And then when it comes to the top of the funnel style content where you're speaking to strangers, that's the metric where you're looking at, did you get more followers? But likes, general comments, all of these vanity metrics, they are not what matters. Unless it's, of course, that top of the funnel piece where you're trying to get new strangers to follow you. But this is where there's the difference between the objective measures versus the measures which are more look and feel of who is actually following you. Because if you look at the new followers that you got from a post, if you actually go onto their profiles and review their profiles, do they look like their ICPs, ideal client profiles for you? My last video was about how to figure out the best ICP. Instead of doing a traditional psychographics, demographics, ideal client avatar exercise, my last video on my channel is actually in way more detail regarding how to truly figure out the best ICP for you. It's this video over here. I'll just show you how I book 10 plus sales calls per day. So check out that one for sure. So then now that you know that there's 3 types of people in your audience at any one time or potential audience and the metrics to follow depending on which of the 3 groups you're talking to, then the next concept is please, please, please do not use AI in order to create your content. So this was pretty funny, this post that I put on Threads. Bro, we all know when ChatGPT writes your content for you. You see a lot of people engage with that one because I don't know if it's just me, but I am quite literally sick of seeing skyrocket with the rocket emoji all over my feed. Because like while AI can nowadays write really great content, you need to know what great copywriting looks like in order for ChatGPT to actually do a good job. So I've made posts before, and my clients have made posts whereby ChatGPT has written the whole thing, but you would never know. No one's ever commented on it. So instead, the best thing to do for actually like legit personal brand success is to go to an inspiring location, a location that inspires you. For you, maybe it's the water, maybe it's the mountains, maybe it's sitting on your patio, maybe it's looking yourself in a dark room, whatever it is for you. With the beverage of your choice, for me it's coffee and some nicotine chewing gum. And I'm not a smoker, by the way. But anyway, do your own research. Close all your tabs. And then, getting locked in and just writing for 60 minutes straight, based upon the problems that you're hearing your prospects say that they have in the sales process, keeping a list of all the problems they have and just going through them and scanning, you will connect the dots and come up with ideas to write content, one big block of content for the week. And that content is then going to give you the inspiration that you need to segment and distribute the content into the other different pieces of content. By the way, I'm going to do an entire live webinar on this, and I'll leave a link in the description box below, or send a message to my Instagram, which is just this, Lauren Tickner. Send a message to my Instagram saying the word live, L-I-V-E, and I'll get you an invite in case you can't find the link for this for any reason. But with that said, if you go to that inspiring location, close all of your tabs and just focus for an hour, you will quite literally get all the content that you need for the week. And that brings me on to frameworks, right? Because you don't need to create from scratch every time. Like after a decade in the game, I've built up the unconscious competence to write free flow. However, if the algorithm hates you, or if it's staring at a blank Google Doc is driving you crazy, then instead you need to get a series of frameworks so that you always know what to write about. So I'll share one with you right now. So this is the PASTA framework, and it literally is pain, amplify, story, transformation, aha, and action. So what's the pain that you went through or the gain that you achieved that will capture the attention of your dream client? How can you make the pain real through amplifying it using feelings and data, right? So emotion and logic. What's the before story that allows your dream client to transport themselves into your narrative? What's your after situation that's desirable to your dream client? Break it down in a way that paints a picture your dream clients can see themselves in. Aha, what's the aha moment that you want your dream clients to realize through your story? And what's the call to action that you want them to see? When it comes to A, getting more reach, B, getting more leads, and C, getting more clients and sales calls, is that you infuse psychological triggers into your content. So the key psychological trigger that I spoke about earlier is authority. Because if you're already posting content and it's not getting you the leads and clients that you want, you can make a couple of really small tweaks to generate a considerable amount more leads and clients for your business. So the example that I gave earlier was infusing the authority intro before you share the educational content. Another example would be intrigue and curiosity, right? So instead of you just straight up telling people what that thing is, getting them to be intrigued and curious about what you're going to speak about so that it gets them to spend more time with you so they can listen to more knowledge from you so that then you share the information with them. But by now they're pre-framed on why they should pay attention and why the problem is a problem and what's going to happen if they don't solve that problem. So these are a couple of the psychological triggers. I'll speak about them more in the webinar that I'm going to be doing. Again, link is in the description, or send a message to my Instagram saying the word live in case it's already passed. And if it has passed, I'll invite you to the next one that's coming up or give you the replay of the one that's just gone. So with that said, don't make those 5 mistakes. You'll have a way better personal brand, and more content like this is coming soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.